Hey man, I just can't find a comfortable headset. I mean, I've tried everything. Literally everything.
Sheesh, my brother. I got you.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Oh, that is comfortable.
Welcome back, everybody, to the NECC Rocket League for week number 7 here. My name is Bachelor Pass, and joined alongside me is the one, the only Novanta, who just whispered some sweet hotness into your ears before we started up the cast. Welcome back, brother. We are back for yet another match. This time, though, we've got some spiciness happening between these two teams.
Yeah, 7 weeks in, can you believe it? And it's only heating up more. You can call it whatever you want, but I'm going to call it a clash of champions or potential champions here as King's College takes on Durham in a match where I know both teams want to settle the score and show them why they deserve to be in the conversation for one of the best teams in the division.
Oh, absolutely. And both of these teams are extremely, extremely strong teams. Unfortunately for Kings, not as necessarily as strong of a start for them. They're 1-5 at the moment. They have not necessarily had much of an upswing in the last couple of weeks, but they're still in Div 1. They are a team that is extremely threatening. And if you underestimate them for even a moment, you might just get knocked off of your undefeated streak. Durham come into this one at 6-0. They have done incredibly so far, only losing 5 games the entire season. So dominant so far here, but again, you fall asleep for even a second and teams will take wins away from you. King have already taken a win so far this season, and they're definitely hunting their second.
Well, it's one of the situations you don't want to be in if you're Durham, because everyone in the whole world thinks you're going to have this series handily, and they might as well be. But if you want to concede goals to a team that's considered weaker or even drop games, and then that might be mayday on that submarine, because we're in the Aqua Dome for this game 1, and I can tell you one thing, they're blast from the past. I am not a fan of this map because it's claustrophobic as heck. The last thing I want to do is be in the pitch for this one.
Oh, my word. Yeah, Aquadome, quite a special place, unfortunately. Certain, that's the thing about Rocket League maps. There's always certain ones that people love, certain ones that people hate. I have to ask, the new one, the Neon whatever it is.
Neon Fields?
Yeah, Neon. Pinions.
You know what? I don't mind it. It's a dope casual map. I wouldn't play on it for money. I wouldn't play on it in a tournament. But my boys playing the music cascade in the background. Why the heck not?
Fair enough. I always got to love the good vibes. Rocket League is definitely one of those games that has great vibes, and you always got to appreciate it every single moment of the day. But we're not here necessarily for the vibes right now. We are here for the competition, so both of these squads have to take away all of that casualness and focus on what is about to arrive right now. Kings versus Durhams, like we said, this is going to be a tense back and forth. I'll ask your early predictions here, but I have an idea of who you might be saying is coming out on top.
Yeah, this was going to be on favor of Durham, no question, but it won't be a sweep. I don't see a sweep happening here. I do think that Kings might get one in there because they've been trying some new things. We've seen their losses have improved. That's a weird way to say it, but the way they've been playing over the course of the season has improved, and they may steal one here today.
We're going to have to find out. Game number 1 just about underway. Kings in the blue, Durham in the orange. Good luck to both squads. This is going to be, well, let's call this a very, very intricate back and forth, as these two squads are both going to try and start off on the right foot. And sort of interesting note here, Novanza, you and I both have the pleasure, oh my word, I'm just about to talk about him, of working on RLCS South America. You recognize this name that just scored?
Oh man, that's The Vitali, and The Vitali is making his presence known. Hashtag The Vitali.
Shout out to Vitali, another person that we have worked with on RLCS South America. Great caster, great dude all around, and well, propelling his team to an early lead so far here. 15 seconds in, and already King's gonna have to rethink their strategy. I said that Durham can't fall asleep if they want to try and take this one. Looks like Kings might have fallen asleep off the bat, and Durham is giving them absolutely no room to breathe.
Yeah, any given day or every given series, if you're the weaker team, you gotta be aggressive. You gotta put every ball or every kickoff, as important as the other. You can't be lackadaisical because you open yourselves up. And so if I'm Kings now, double time, step on the gas and make sure you tighten that up, because the last thing you want to do is not even lose, but lose handily by a large scoreline.
And absolutely. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. I think Kings just had one goal go in early that they were not expecting. And, well, you can see as they're whipping it around the field, they definitely have made the necessary adjustments. Gilmore pops this one high. Not quite able to do much with it, though, as it's an easy demo out of midfield. Excuse me. Volt's going to try and run with this one into the corner as Gilmore again gets demo. Oh, my word. Demolition Derby all over the field right now. It looks like Durham have come here to bully to start off with.
Well, you know why they call that meta of demo so effective? It's because you put your teammate or your opponent on the back heel, but Vitali cannot be deterred. His experience has been the difference right now, being able to stare down evil in the face and still put balls past the net. 2-0.
Oh my word, what a shot that was. Good link up there, and unfortunately for Kings, they might have slowed down the initial solo plays, but they're not quite able to get in the way of these plays that are working all together. And as it's more link ups here out of Durham, they might just find a third, not quite able to. Good save out of KCE, but we're going to try and run with this one. I just realized I said KC. That is Kings College. I apologize for calling him KCE here. 0-2, 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining, and Gilmore will find some good space in the air here. Tally on the line, though, makes a great save, and unfortunately for Kings right now, they not only have to deal with a solid offense out of Durham, but they have to deal with the defense as well.
Yeah, that last shot on frame was all but in the net. The thing is, I really feel that Durham has been practicing these tandem plays in the mid-pitch, and they are happening unchallenged, leaving up the chance. And, well, you don't want to leave things up to chance because you will either let those goals go in or you'll be stretch yourself so far with the clear, you leave yourself open for rebounds. It looks like a class above if you are Durham right now.
Absolutely. The good thing for Kings, though, is they're not too far down right now. They're down by 2, and they have half the game remaining, so a quick response here might just get them back into this one. But, again, that quick response needs to arrive first. There's a half the game, 2-goal deficit, and as it stands right now, Durham actually look poised to put in a third off the backboard. Volts wants his own touch, but can't quite get there as he's bumped out of the way. But no follow-up touch off the clear there. Kings starting to get locked into their half, and are starting to, I think, run low on boost as well.
Yeah, one of the things about this strategy done by Durham is their boost driving strategy. Once at least 4 cars hit one side of the pitch, all the boost disappears, and most of it's being taken by Durham for their own aerial attacks primarily, but to really cut off the air supply to King's College is that much difficult. It is an assault on offense, on defense, and rotational strategy. You don't quite see at this level, but it's been done in such a direct fashion, and that has been the difference here for Durham today.
What a heads-up play there out of Volts as well. Just delays that a little bit. They're expecting a ripper of a shot, but at 0 boost, all he can really do is touch it. And rather than trying to get some sort of power there, just lightly tap it on in. 3-0 here so far. Durham on a dominant start, to put it simply. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon here. Bugsy tries to get one in for Kings. Sorry, blanked on the name for a moment. For Kings, but they're not quite able to do so. Kings have had a great response so far to a lot of things that have happened, but it's unfortunately small errors and small opportunities that get created into bigger chances for Durham. And well, that's kind of what it is at Division 1. You can't afford minor mistakes because you'll get flicked on within a moment.
I just want to say, Drew's clues, y'all. I think the mistakes that King's College were doing are pronounced. The thing is, most teams wouldn't exploit that quite the way Durham has. And so I got to say this. Look, 4-0 score line, this game is pretty much all but done. What you can do, though, is not give up. You have a chance of pulling one back, even drawing level in the next game.
Absolutely. There's definitely a chance for a comeback here. I don't think that they're out of this one entirely. Oh, my word, especially when you can play defense like that. Kings really are not going down easy here. And again, this is the thing, their current game line, or what is it, their current stat sheet, their current score, and their current position on the leaderboard is really not a fair assessment of what Kings are at. The competition just up here in Division 1 is so incredibly fierce that it makes it very difficult for teams to try and pop out and show themselves off. At 1-5, they're a lethal team that can take down many other teams in the division, but right now, Durham are showing themselves just step above the rest of the crowd right now. Maybe we can see a response, but if Durham continue to play this way throughout the series, it is going to be a very long day for the Kings.
So people always ask, what makes Division 1 so special? What makes them so fancy? And well, the answer is speed and being able to use your teammates in tandem on not only the mid-pitch, but on the flanks as well. You see a lot more passing action, a lot more linking up plays, even if shots are deflected. I think anticipating where the ball might go when it's in the hand of your teammates is an invaluable stat, an invaluable trait, and that separates the divisions 1, 2, and 3 in NECC, and even casual play in Rocket League.
Absolutely, and that's a big thing, is a lot of people love to say, oh, it's the higher divisions. Obviously, they're more mechanical than us, right? They can hit flip resets and do all that. Not really. That's not what they're looking for here. If you notice the way that DC took this game, it wasn't because of their mechanics. It wasn't because of their greater, fancier shots. It was just taking advantage of when the opportunities arrive, and Durham do exactly that. Keep their opponents at a 0 goal total, shut them out for game number 1, and Durham, when I say they look poised to try and take this one easily, I mean they look poised to just absolutely dominate right now. Kings need a quick response, and I think that they can, but if they get even a little bit off kilter in the second game, this could be a very, very rough one for them.
You made a mention about mechanics being on another level, and that's true. But yes, it is intuition that rules the day. You got to feel it. For those who are not familiar with Rocket League, it's kind of like that scene in that 20-year-old movie, The Matrix, when Neo feels it becomes the one. This is what you have to do, is anticipate not only where you're going, but where your teammates are going. Now, the Kings need to score to win, and I think they can do that here in Game 2. All is not lost, but whatever you tried in Game 1, off the table. Try something completely different, because Durham has already read that book and they've seen the ending.
Absolutely. This is just, it's not a winning strategy as it stands right now. And I think a lot of that has to do with rotations that we're seeing out of the Kings. They give these opportunities. They are very momentary, but it's enough for Durham to jump on it almost immediately. So we need to see a very, I'd say, I don't want to say conservative, maybe reserved. I'm not sure what the right word is for the Kings, but they need to be very careful when they're on the pitch. If they make sloppy mistakes, it's pretty much just going to go incredibly in favor of Durham. So right now, they need to take a deep breath, reset themselves mentally, and come into this next game with a little bit more concentration.
I usually don't recommend this for teams in this situation, but it might be a useful tactic to do a man-to-man, almost a shadowing defense to look for mistakes and poke it out, because you're not going to beat Durham on speed alone.
No, absolutely not. You're going to have to get some more intricate plays like that. Gilmore, though, unfortunately, really did clear out the midfield. If, oh no, if someone had followed it up, they would have been up 1-0, but instead, it's a momentary counterattack, and in the blink of an eye, already Durham are up.
Look how I was saying about linking up with partners, right? Vitali goes up and could have shot it right, but chose to go the opposite direction, leaving an open net for Clues. 1-0 Durham.
I gotta love the names in Rocket League. I will say, Rocket League has some of my favorite names just in terms of players, in terms of teams, in terms of pretty much anything. One of my favorite teams in EU right now is just called Godsmilla's team. And if you can guess who the captain of that team is, it is, yes, indeed, Godsmilla. So, you know, creative names all around. I really do love to see it. And creative names or not, though, it's not necessarily going to benefit Kings all that much right now. Their creativity hasn't gotten them a goal so far because they are down by 1, only 40 seconds into game number 2. They need an answer, and they need an answer quick. They want this momentum back on their side. And as they start contesting midfield, it's actually starting to look like, hey, maybe they can withstand the pressure.
Well, pressure's one thing, but being able to block goals off the line has been a whole nother thing. You look at this team, Durham. We've seen their tandem play, we've seen their aerial play, we've seen their offensive attack and assault. The one thing I have not quite seen yet, and I think it's going to happen only a matter of time, is using the walls to their advantage. Once they do that, I can basically say bona fide, a complete game has been on display for that orange side.
Yeah, absolutely. And this one, definitely a lot more tense than the first one. Demos like that are really separating the two teams right now, but oh, well, I don't know. Maybe not necessarily the greatest time for me to say this was a tense one. Bit of a defensive error on the back end here.
Hey, what did I say about complete game? Using the wall to your advantage? What a complete game by Durham. Vitali makes it 2-0.
It's true, the wall is coming to the advantage here, but unfortunately for Durham, that was not necessarily the team that needed to start getting more momentum in their favor. We wanted to see a quick response out of Kings, and so far it has not been that. We're only a minute 30 into game number 2, and it's the same, sort of dominance, but no, unfortunately, a huge opportunity for Kings, but it will not be capitalized upon. Open net, basically, and now here comes the counterattack out of Durham. Kings, they're going to be kicking themselves if they do not get a goal here soon.
Well, that was not for lack of trying, and that was perfectly executed, but it reminds me of that movie in the Avengers when, the man Thor didn't go for the head. You had an opportunity there. You could have closed it out. It didn't happen. It's okay. Have another shot at the goal.
Hopefully they can have another shot sometime soon, because right now, all of a sudden, Durham have flipped the script. They're starting to play a little bit more slowly. They're just waiting for the errors now out of Kings instead. They don't want to have to try and push this offense anymore. They've already got a 2-goal lead. That is enough security for them. And as they start to play a little bit more back on midfield here, you can just tell they are not focusing on trying to rush this as much anymore. Volts will take this to the corner and try and play this one slowly. Vitali creeps up a little bit, but immediately goes back into defense because they do not want to have a quick counterattack that gets taken advantage of. Speaking of which, that is why they've been playing so defensive. They can see all of a sudden Kings are starting to move a little bit more quickly, and one error is all it takes for this lead to get cut in half.
We see a little bit of daylight there. Kings understand what Durham was doing, what plays they were running, and were able to poke something out, do a shot on frame. That's 2 times it went wayward of goal, but that says a lot about the foresight of reading your opponent and not being caught on the wrong foot. There is still a chance, still an opportunity for Kings College. Well, maybe not. Whatever that score, I'm trying their best. I'm trying.
No, you're trying your best, but unfortunately right now the Monarchs are just not quite able to stay up with what we're seeing here out of Durham. They're doing a great job of trying to make the necessary adjustments, but it's these momentary lapses in defense that all of a sudden just get taken advantage of. Durham really are doing the best to their ability. They're playing a type of game that they want to play. They're playing a game where they control the pace, where they control how Kings is moving around the field, and it's just not necessarily going in favor of how they want it right now. So we need to see Kings try something a little bit different here, because the Monarchs have not been able to get onto the pitch and play that efficiently. And I'd say 99% of that is due to Durham just absolutely messing with them right now.
You know, it took me a minute to realize that Monarchs were the same team as the Kings. SATs. Well, more importantly, besides winning the game first, they had to put one on the board. They haven't scored a goal all series. We're deep into game 2, and that's problematic for any squad here. For the Rulers?
Well, I'm not exactly sure. Unfortunately, I only know one of the two teams in terms of their mascots at the moment. Hopefully, we can get someone behind the scenes to let us know, but it's the Durham Lords. That is what it is. So the Lords right now are going to be on top, and well, it's a bit of an irony there. I feel like the Lords versus the Monarchs. I'm actually not really sure which one of those two, in terms of, you know, higher rankings in government, come out on top.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely something going to be a Game of Thrones question later on. Less than a minute to go here. Like I said before, Kings need to score 1 just for the fact they can find a way to get past the defense of a much stronger side. And, well, Durham is in the driver's seat. They can waste all the time they want to. This one seems more or less in hand.
Indeed, and this one, I mean, you can do really whatever you want to finish off this game, but no matter what, you're going to have to try and make the necessary adjustments in game number 3, because Kings, they are on the verge of getting swept now, and they do not want to be there right now. They need to get some sort of momentum in their favor going into game number 3, because as it stands, they have not scored a single goal this entire series.
Yeah, again, like I said, when you can go back and see things where you lost, or you can say, hey, we didn't score enough, but if you score nothing, then that just makes you wonder what is wrong. It could be a symptom of a bigger problem, especially the way the season has been going so far for Kings College. But I'm rooting for them. I really want them to please get one on the board for their own sake.
They need to get at least one goal here, and as they do have, I think, an opportunity on offense, as long as Clever keeps this up, and indeed they will. Off the ceiling this goes. Air dribble opportunity, tries to score it, but can't quite get the follow-up touch. Huge opportunity for Kings to get some momentum in their favor, but not quite able to do so, and Durham take 2 straight without giving up a goal so far.
So we have ourselves a sweep situation, which is going to be a mental test for both squads. On one hand, you have Durham. You want to make sure you can close the door on an opponent you have on the ropes. That shows you can keep the killer instinct. But more importantly, Kings College has to scratch and claw their way to at least get 1 on the score tally. But it can't happen without understanding which offensive lane is going to benefit them more. Every time they try something, it's been snuffed out. It's do or die time. So again, I'm not a big fan of the yeet, but it's about high time you try something different, and it has to start right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's sometimes what it is. It's just sort of the, screw it, throw everything that we've got and see what happens. And it's something that I've seen even at RLCS play. It's something that I just witnessed from a team in the grid recently, who basically, they had taken 2 sweeps in a row. They were going to look at their 3rd sweep of the day against a team that was #1 on the table. And you know what they did? Switched into a Batmobile, switched into a Merc, switched into, cars that they don't normally play with, because they were like, hey, you know what? Whatever we've got, throw what we can at the opponents and see what sticks. And, sometimes that's the way to play. Play as if there is no pressure on you. That weight is off your shoulder and you're just here for fun. And maybe that's what the Kings need to do. They just need to throw everything but the kitchen sink at their opponents.
Yeah, and Batmobiles. I totally think that works. I totally think they're a better player. Game 3 is up here. 5 minutes on the clock. Durham's on series point. They're in the orange. And, well, Kings College in the blue. They have to try whatever they can to Bass's point. I don't know.
Unfortunately, I don't think either of us are quite sure what to do, and part of that is the fact that, well, Durham, they've looked incredible today so far, so to try and break that momentum is going to take something incredible. Let's see if Kings have got that in them, as they are the first team to start an attack. If they can get an early goal here, they might just be able to get the momentum in their favor, but again, easier said than done. They haven't gotten a goal so far today, so to think they could start off the 3rd game immediately getting one might be a little bit over-optimistic, but there's definitely still a chance here. As long as they can hold strong on this offense that is now arriving out of Durham, they might be able to. That shot in front of the net, incredibly awkward, so it should lead to a clear out of Kings. Indeed it will. Good 50 at the midfield out of Gilmore. This shot is going to be on target, and there it is, the first goal of the series for Kings College.
Look at this tandem play. Note, Gilmore cross net, draws the defense out, and Clever rolls up, true to its name, with a cheeky goal. And guess what? Not only did the Kings College score, they draw first blood in game 3.
They draw first blood and they get some momentum in their favor. The confidence has returned. The weight is off their shoulder. Now they just need to try and hold on to it. And they get lucky off of a touch off the bar. Volt's shot does not go in, and as a result, Kings will get another opportunity, but Clever decides to not go for that ball whatsoever. That could be very bad. That was a huge chance for Kings to try and run with that momentum, but now here comes Durham on the other end. Vitaly goes high with this one, wants the dunk. Can't quite get it past, but I can't help but feel right now, Novanta, Kings shouldn't even be locked into their half.
Yeah, they shouldn't be at all, but sometimes the ball don't lie, they say, and you saw Vitaly go up there almost in a bit of frustration with a very, very lazy aerial and was pilfered for it. I'm not going to say momentum has shifted, but it sure feels that way.
Starting to feel like there might be a chance here, especially when Clever can make saves like that. What a phenomenal touch on the line that'll keep the goal out for now. Durham still struggling to get that first one in. Oh, but I spoke too soon. Caster Curse had to show its face at some point, and why not for Durham as they score their first?
Hey, you know what? Even games are cool games to listen to. Drills Kluk with a little bit of bounce shot, the doink, as my caster colleague Grant CFO would say, and we're tied 1-1.
A perfect doink right there, and all of a sudden that is a 1-1 score line. Now the question is whether or not Kings can try and just wipe that one away and keep that confidence that we saw going into the game. Pugsies definitely still has a little bit of confidence as they push very far up and get aggressive with that one, but they have to now be careful. Too much aggression can leave you vulnerable on the back end, and Kings do not want to go down to an early deficit here. That could almost be the nail in the coffin for them, but as they have a quick response on offense, starting to look like they might have figured out a little bit better how to play against Durham.
That is an understatement and a half. 2 minutes have elapsed there, and the score is only 1-1. And frankly, that goal by Durham wasn't really one of their cleanest one, but that one was Pog. Vitaly, out of nowhere, makes it 2-1.
Oh, so unfortunate. This is both a defensive error and a missed rotation at the same time. Yes, there probably could have been a touch there out of Gilmore boys, but just pushed up a little bit too far, and as a result, a clear across is going to make it right over their head. They need to be very careful. The offense is definitely starting to click for everybody off of King's College, but they cannot afford to start abandoning defense. The Monarchs need to be very careful right now. Woo, but if they can get a quick shot off a kickoff, they can just erase that goal altogether. Who cares about defensive errors when you've got an efficient offense? What a shot out of Pugsies.
What just happened? Did Juice Clues pull over? Was he like checking his GPS or something? He was at the goal, he was right there, and then they happened. Either way, we're level. King's College fighting back.
They're fighting back. They do not want to go down this easily. And Durham, though, they do not want to crack like this. If they show vulnerability, all of a sudden this series could start flipping the other way, and they'd much rather finish this one off in a sweep. A tense game number 3 for sure. And we're only halfway through this one, Novanta.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's both teams were under unsurmountable pressure here. You know, if you're a future opponent for Durham and you saw a team that quote unquote is weaker, allowing these goals to go past the defense of Durham, you can say, oh, we could do that. We could do that even better. And so Durham has to shore this up as quick as they can, because the last thing we're going to do is drop a game when they're looking at series point.
Absolutely. This is the time for Durham to show that they've got that clutch factor. I mean, similarly, though, this is definitely a time for Kings to show that as well. Ooh, double commitment there is really not going to benefit them, though, and all of a sudden it's an awkward play on the back end. Something we hadn't seen out of Kings in quite some time, and luckily enough, they will recover. But they've got to be careful. One defensive error in this series could be all over.
Yeah, those double commits are never a good idea, but sometimes you get a little too excited, that's okay. Just make sure you give your teammates some space to make some magic happen.
I think they might just have a little bit of space right now here. Can Kings try and get something together? Pugsies wants this off the backboard. Indeed gets it there, but Clever was far too far on the other side, and unfortunately, it's not going to turn into any sort of shot here. The offense will restart yet again, and that will turn into a shot. Heads up play out of Clever right there. Fakes out the last defender. It's this little ball back and forth that just throws Vitaly entirely off.
That's like going to a fight, dropping your hands and go punch you in the chin, and someone does it. You're like, what? 3-2, Kings College in the lead, and we're approaching that Lars New time. Can they hold on?
Gonna have to find out. Only just above 70 seconds remain, and at this point it's really about playing defense entirely. Kings do not need to focus on keeping that offensive pressure up, just making sure they don't make errors on the back end. Oh my word, all players have to commit on that ball off the backboard. Luckily enough, they do not go punished, and a touch will arrive, but you can see it's starting to get awkward on the back end for Kings College.
Why did I drink coffee before this game? My heart can't take it. What is going on there, Bass?
Oh, I don't know, to be honest. This one's a little bit of a back and forth. King's actually almost able to sneak in another one here. Durham's starting to break down a little bit on defense. They're looking awkward, and really it's the first time we've seen them look awkward the entire series.
Well, this is what I was talking about. When teams are up against the wall, they see what sticks. They're a bit more aggressive, and it's paid dividends for Kings College. Let's hope we stick with it.
See if they can maybe even get one more goal to end this one. Volts, though, going to try and get one more goal for his team. They'd much rather take this to at least overtime and try and take this in narrow fashion, but as it goes off the bar, they will not be able to get one in. There's one more chance here. Multiple players from Durham are on offense. They are all trying to slot one in, but Volts' shot is not powerful enough. Drew has got one more chance to pop this out of the corner. Can any Durham College player get a shot on target? Volts puts this off for the backboard, actually. As a matter of fact, they're playing this one very intricately. Lots of time here, but it will not go in. Kings College just barely hold on.
Would you just see that? Okay, Bass with the pass. Two things. One, I am completely right. I called it. Kings College pulled one in the series, but what a way to lose a game. Ball on the line. 80% that ball crossed the line, but they said the entire ball has to do it. Durham is probably holding their heads. Oh my goodness me, that was awesome.
That was incredible. I mean, it's definitely not incredible for Durham. They're probably kicking themselves right now. Like, oh my God, we were on the line and could not get it in. We should be in overtime right now, Novanta.
I love this game. Rocket League is dope. I can tell you one thing, though. The last thing I want to do is be a Kings player because Durham's going to be upset and going to be really, really mad. But in the meantime, what a shot.
And this is what we mean. Kings is one of those teams that they just had an unfortunate record throughout the season. At 1-5, it's just not necessarily going their way, but they are a lethal team that can take it to the best of them. They stuck with it here in game number 3. They were looking at a sweep, going down without scoring a single goal, and they came back and won game number 3. This is resiliency in its purest form. And now the question is whether they can keep that resiliency going. Game number 4, like you said, is going to be a test.
I gotta take a minute to compose myself, but yeah, the Kings have shown they've done it. They can do it. Comes down to this one. Can they force a game 5? I think now more than ever, they have the tools. They have unlocked what needs to be done. Can they execute?
Gonna have to find out. My heart is racing right now. I'm like you, my friend. I had a huge cup of coffee before all of this, and I starting to regret that a little bit, but it might just help me make it through this last one. The energy we will need to encapsulate everything that is going on the field right now is just something else. And well, it looks like already a first team to attack is going to be Kings. If they can get another early goal, they might just be able to take this 1-5, but like you said, easier said than done. Durham are going to be here for some revenge.
Yeah, Durham is going to be not only as skilled as they are, but more focused than ever. Being able to let a game slip away, I am sure they want to make sure that doesn't happen again.
And they'd love to finish this one off in 4. They're still a game up, so the good thing is that they do have some room to breathe. Even if they lose this one, they go to game number 5 where they have another chance to finish this one off. But again, no team really wants to go to that game number 5. That is leaving it way, way too close.
Well, absolutely. And almost both tries to break the deadlock, but the follow-up is not going to work, too. Yeah, look, this is now more than ever. You can feel Durham's like, we need to go now, quick. Stop this celebratory party the Kings are enjoying currently.
Oh my God, the Kings are all of a sudden, they've just turned on the Jets. It's the volume knob up to 11. It's everything that you can say to say that they are here and they are ready to play. Durham might have just slept a little bit too long. They might have needed to finish these guys off in 3 because giving them a chance in 4 has reinvigorated both the offense and defense. Specifically, Clever is just popping off on both halves of the field. Oh my word, Volts takes about to the very last second to make that save.
I'll say this before and I'll say it again. The story of the tortoise and the hare, no one ever asks about the hare after the race. And Durham has to make sure they win this race or else it will be something they will consider a black eye on their record.
Yeah, I've never really thought about that. I gotta imagine the hare probably won every single race from there on out. So I gotta imagine that right now Durham are thinking the same way. They're like, hey, we gave them one. Never again. And it looks like they might not let them. How does Clever keep getting back for these saves? Every chance that we think, oh, you know, Durham's going to open this one up, all of a sudden they're back in form. And Clever says, no, sir, continuing to shut things down. But unfortunately, the one time someone else besides Clever has to make a save and they just cannot quite. Kings will fall victim to this first goal, unfortunately.
And that's the adjustment. Knowing Clever's turn, the Vitali went the opposite way, causing another play that's not as strong currently on the defensive side of things for that goal. But I can tell you one thing, that's not a shot against Kings College. That's really more about the big brain mentality of Vitali.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a huge thing to mention is that Durham, they're a very strong team who have done well against every single other team that they have faced against. So a big thing to note is that what they're doing on the pitch, when they're dissecting this team, when they're trying to get these guys in awkward positions, none of this is accidental. This is all methodical play, and they are doing it perfectly so far here. Might even be able to get a second goal to boot with it. Indeed, no, they will not. Gilmore now steps up on defense as well. And again, you got to finish them here, Durham. If you let this go to game 5, you might just be facing the best defense in all of the NECC.
I don't want to be a Durham supporter right now. They're probably in the chat going, what are you doing? Just score already. What's going on? Because how clever these clears have been. It's been a next level there, Bass.
Oh my word, back and forth we go. The one thing that is beneficial for Durham right now, though, is they've got that early lead. They got 1 goal on the board, and they haven't necessarily been able to break through the defense since then. But sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes it is just a 1-goal difference that separates the two of them. As Clever pops this one high, it's looking like they're still struggling to get out of their own half, though. The Monarchs need to move quickly. If they get locked into their half for too long, the boost starvation could become a real problem.
Yeah, boost starvation is the difference between swatting goals away and being powerless to stop a shot on frame there. But yeah, and now more than ever, look at into the last 90 seconds of this game. The Kings have to get one on the board. Let's see how they do it.
Back on offense one more time. Clever's going to try and play this one closely, but Vitali in the corner is just going to dribble and waste valuable time. This clear out from Drew is also incredibly impressive, and as Vitali does find the follow-up touch, it almost was a really nice solo play, but instead, it's midfield presence showing its face yet again, back and forth and back and forth. And unfortunately, this is not what we can afford out of Kings College right now. Kings don't need a back and forth. They need momentum in their favor.
Yeah, momentum is one thing that's great, but more than ever, they need that goal, man. Momentum is great. Just get the ball past the net. But either way, they have a lot to be proud of because they're in the conversation here, and they made sure that Durham can be seen bleeding live on the stream because this result shouldn't have happened. It had no chance of happening, but guess what? It's happening.
Indeed it is, and with 48 seconds left on the clock, we need to see some sort of response very quickly out of Kings. They need momentum in their favor. They need to break out of their half. Open net here if we can get the angle, but no, Clever couldn't quite get there in time. Bolt shuts down the chance before it arrives. That might just be the nail in the coffin. That was such a good chance for Kings to tie this one up.
It's so unfortunate because when this stream is over, they're not going to remember the play of Clever here, but it's been so instrumental of making this team look like world beaters here today. Clever, kudos.
Yeah, really, a standout performance for Clever, and if we could give the MVP to the team that loses, we probably would give it to Clever, but unfortunately, it's just, oh, we're being told by our, okay, so producer is letting us nominate him nonetheless. So, listen, great game out of everybody off of everybody off of Kings, but even if they can't get this one here, which they just might, no, never mind, take it back, entirely take it back. That was a mistake. Mistake, shouldn't have said that. Still, probably gonna give my MVP to Clever. Phenomenal game out of that player.
If you are a Kings College supporter, send all your hate mail to @BassFromThePast on social media. Yikes. Exclamation point, 2-0 Durham.
Oh my word, an unfortunate caster curse to finish this one off, but hey, you know what, that is the usual for me, the caster curse, man. And as our producer behind the scenes, Caleb Glooby, knows, that was pretty much all I did season 1 here at the NECC. So for it to show its face again here in this season as well is not necessarily the most surprising factor, and unfortunately not that surprising. Durham do take the win here in game number 4, but man, Kings put up a fight in the half. To say that they went down easily would be such a disservice to the game that they just played.
Yeah, that's why a lot of times the scoreline doesn't really tell you about the skill level here. Everyone in that Kings College organization should go back to game 3 and saw how you took a stronger team, a quicker team, a more creative team, quite crucially, and put them on the back hill for the better part of 5 minutes. Those are the games you watch and rewatch and understand you can become one of the top tier teams in the division if you put your mind to it. So GG's for all involved, but I'm impressed by Kings College today. And I'll tell you what, a lot of the future opponents for Durham are probably licking their chops right now going, oh, I see, that's how it's done. So I think it's a win-win for all involved despite the scoreline.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Kings get a little bit of momentum. They realize that, hey, we can hang with the best of them. We can really be the best. And like you said, for everybody else, Durham, I mean, they obviously, take the win. But now they've also realized, hey, we can't start falling asleep towards the latter end of the season. We've still got teams that are going to be gunning for us with a target on our back. So Durham played very, very well in that one. And I got to say, it's definitely one of these things where you look at everybody else in the pack, you look at who it's going to be, you wonder who's going to be that first team to take a win away from Durham.
Well, it's hard to tell because again, we didn't think. Well, besides me, of course, we didn't think Kings College were going to get one on this tally today. So it really comes down to how they're feeling every week. But what I like about Durham as a squad is when every one person falls behind, the other person picks up. That's a mark of a great team with great chemistry. So your guess is as good as mine, there, Bass.
Yeah, it's really going to be an interesting one. There's a ton of lethal teams here in the NECC, and like we said, none of them can be underestimated because if you do for even a moment, it's going to be, well, we'll put it this way: it's going to be a surprise for you for sure on the pitch. And well, that was definitely a surprise for us as well. We saw a game out of King's College where they were able to bring that one back. It was an absolute pleasure to be able to watch that as well because I know we're supposed to be pretty much impartial in the booth. We're not cheering for one side or the other, but it just feels so good to see Kings get some momentum in their favor and get a win.
Absolutely. It's about the spirit of the game. It's about car soccer, or car ball, or whatever you call it. It's amazing when teams are essentially statistically seen as not being a threat, not only threat, but to get a win. So yeah, totally unbiased, but that was fun to watch.
Yeah, absolutely a blast. And if you guys want to keep up with everybody else or with everything that we do here so you can make sure to have a blast every time, make sure to check out our socials. We have got all of those down below. Like we said, NECC is constantly streaming all of these games 5 days a week on Twitch as well as on ESTV. So we have got tons of action no matter what. If you want to see collegiate esports, the NECC will provide every single time. So make sure to keep up to date with all of us on everything that we do, as well as, keep up to date with what Novanta and I are doing. We have our ads below us for a reason, please. We'd love to see you guys in some of our other events. We'd love to see you guys, your pretty faces everywhere we go. And Novanta, it really has been a pleasure so far, my friend. I think we're trying to get a player in here for the interview, but man, we've seen some action here today at the NECC.
We definitely see some action. And we've seen different kinds of rotations and formations. And I hope if everyone's watching this stream today, there's so many things you can pull from for your own game or your own collegiate game, or even just you casual with friends about trusting your partners, about rotations, about what happens with defensive mistakes. One of the cool things about being a caster is I'm a better player because of it. And I'm so glad to bring it to you every week.
Absolutely. Again, even just watching games like this, going back through your footage and making sure that you take those little mental notes can separate you from the rest of the pack. And well, we're not necessarily saying that, casting gives us an edge above the rest of them. Sometimes it can be beneficial. And well, as we welcome Vitali to the booth, he might actually have a little bit of both sides there, because you, my friend, are both a caster and an extraordinary player. How does it feel to take that win, my guy?
It feels pretty good. We're having fun, I mean, we did what we had to do, right? We came in, we won, right? Like that's all we needed to do. So
you absolutely
winning
did.
is part of the game, but it wasn't a sweep. Game 3 went to the way of King's College. Did that really change your strategy? What was going through your mind when it was so close in that third game?
I mean, they just kind of hard camped net for the whole series, so we just kind of started trying to break them down a little bit more, because even in game 4, they were still camping net. They were making good saves. Realistically, like, that team was playing really good defense, so we had to find different ways to get around it. I don't know. Their offense was a little bit shaky sometimes, but their defense was very good, and it was hard to get shots past them. So hats off to them for bringing good defense.
Yeah, stellar defense all around. They really did play a very good game towards the latter half of that one. I don't know if you guys, were you aware going into game number 3 how one-sided that was? Because from the booth, we were starting to see that you guys didn't let a goal up the first 2 games. Were you aware of that?
Oh, yeah, we were aware of that. We didn't really, I don't know. It's not something that we keep like mental track of a whole lot, but we knew that we were playing really well. I don't know. We just, not gonna lie, we started having a little bit of fun in game 3, and it kind of got away from us a little bit. So, but game number 4, we made sure to focus up a little bit and get it done. So.
Absolutely. I know there's other teams in your division watching you guys play today. I'm sure you put them on notice with another win here today, but any message you have for them, like any kind of smack talk you have for them, now will be the time.
I mean, smack talk, I don't really know. Our results say what they need to. We made CRL, and I mean, that's kind of it. I don't know.
Oh, wow. That's the best type of smack talk. Just let the stats talk for you. That's an emphasis, to put it simply. I think that's an exclamation point at the end of this interview. So, Vitali, we will let you go, my friend. Any shout outs you want to give, though, before you head on out?
Shout out to my team. I know we haven't had an interview since we made CRL, but shout out to my team for always playing fantastic. Shout out to Coach Benny S. He's something sometimes, but he's a great coach. Yeah, thank you guys, and thank you guys as well for having us on stream.
Absolutely, always a pleasure. We're gonna let you go. Appreciate it, Vitaly. Have a good one.
Thank you.
All right, Novanta. Well, unfortunately for you and I think that is going to. Oh wait. Oh, And I think we're getting told behind the scenes we actually might have another interview. So he did not win the match, unfortunately so, but I think we might be able to get our possible MVP for the match, Clever, into the booth in just a moment here. Novanta, this, again, we don't normally get the interviews from the team that just lost, but I think we really deserve one, or at least Clever deserves one right now. And speaking of which, welcome to the booth, Clever. A heartbreaking loss in that last one, but you guys played phenomenally.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
Well, Clever, the chat was saying it was going to be a sweep, but you made sure, and your team made sure that was not going to be the issue. Can you walk me through game 3? After being down 2 games, not scoring a goal to your tally, just digging deep and getting 3 goals ahead to bring 1 back.
Yeah, I think our mindset was just that, we know we're down. We know we got nothing to lose at this point. Let's just try to push one out and show that, we're a team to compete with. This is our first season out here, so coming out hopefully next season, starting off strong and kind of setting our name for ourselves.
I think you absolutely can. You guys did look incredibly strong, and that's that's the thing. You guys have taken down a ton of games off of multiple different teams here. The unfortunate part is you just haven't quite been able to find, a win aside from that one series. So you guys have played really, really well. It's just been tense back and forth the entire time. And I will say, this is just sort of unfortunately the way that the top division can sometimes spread, where it's a little bit of difference, but certain teams can fall to the bottom or top depending on how the season starts. And like you said, you are a young team. This is your first time doing this, and I think that you really will have a brighter future from here on out, especially if you can play the way that you did on defense. Game number 3, the amount of saves that you had that were just pretty much out of nowhere, both, I guess, 3 and 4, mind-blowing. How on earth are you able to play such a efficient defense?
I think that just, we do a lot of practice with defensive plays, obviously offensive as well, but it's just, I've been playing the game for so long and working with this team. It's just, we kind of know how each other play, so I just knew that, I had to be there in that time. And we knew this team we were playing was a strong team, like to play backboard, so we knew that we were going to have to face some challenges we might not be able to overcome, but we absolutely did.
You guys have one of the more colorful supporters section in the chat and all on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any kind of a message or words of encouragement for them?
Yeah, the whole start of the game, we were getting text messages and, DMs and such saying, good luck, you guys got this. I think it kind of gives us a boost there, just that we have the people that have the support behind us, and now we just got to put it out there.
That is awesome. Awesome to hear. So, unfortunate loss here today, but I really do hope that you guys, take this one with pride. It was a very, very close series towards the end of that one, and while it was a nail-biter until the very end, it is just, unfortunate result going the wrong way for you. Any quick shout-outs you want to make before we let you go?
Just my teammates. We went through a fight, and let's keep pushing.
Awesome. I love to hear it. All right. Well, thank you very much, Clever. Really a phenomenal game out of you, my friend. We hope that you can have a regain from here on out, we'll say.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You as well. All right, Novanta. Well, now with that is definitively the end of us, unfortunately, my friend. We had multiple great series in a row, 2 back-to-back bangers, but all good things have to end eventually, my friend.
I see how it is, man. You're kicking me out. It's cool. But it's been a good time, good Rocket League action. I love it, man. I love NECC.
So do I, and I love that we get to come back here every single week. And, well, here's a good thing. It's just the end for me and Novanta. Y'all in the audience, you are not done quite yet. We've got a plethora of fantastic casters that will be coming right back in just a moment. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We will see you guys after a quick little break.
Hey man, I just can't find a comfortable headset. I mean, I've tried everything. Literally everything.
Sheesh, my brother. I got you.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
That is comfortable.